And we are live. Hello, Podfeet.
Hello, everybody. How are you today?
Doing good. It's good to be back. I heard that you actually ran the show yourself last week.
I'm sorry. It was flawless. It didn't have any trouble, right? Oh, I
No
started saying
trouble
the
at
one
all.
thing I forgot to do was to talk to the chat room ahead of time. For some reason, it just slipped my mind that I could be talking. I was typing the whole time.
Cool. Alan's up with roll call. Nice job.
Hang on one second. Load with post. Oh, that's a little small. What did I type
There's
in?
Kevin's view. Good.
One
That's the
moment.
right thing to be on the big screen there.
Uh-oh. That didn't work. That is weird. Okay. One moment. Hold, please. Remove. Try that again. That was really strange. Left.
The roll call that we recognize most is Sherry O'Terry and Will Farrell doing the chess club cheer. That's the best. We get the most enjoyment.
Format. Is that what you're trying
That's
to say?
the preferred format, yes.
Okay, I want that to be 400, not 40. Load with post. There we go. Nope. Hang on. Almost done.
What are we doing here?
I'm adding a picture of you in the car to the show notes where I'm talking about the car. All right, It is time for roll call. We've got Alan and Seamus just snuck in, and Kevin and Bruce and Frank and Mike and John. It's so nice to have John back. And you have full leash. You're off leash tonight, John. And Rose and Sandy and Michael and Zoe from England at 1 o'clock in the morning. I would never stay up for me until 1 in the morning. You're so fun. So I think we have audio check all ready to go.
I think we do. Whoa, that's a nice setup, Zoe.
Oh, nice. Wait, is the chat there twice? Oh, because he's in the chat. She's got the chat going, but then the chat's in the video. That's an interesting point. I never thought about that. If you're watching us in video and you're in the chat, you see the chat twice.
I do.
Well, you've got it like in 3 different apps.
Yeah, actually, my setup's a lot like Zoe. 2 27-inch monitors side by side like that. Although I don't go full screen with the stream.
All right. Well, we have done a lot of prep here, so I think we are ready to go.
I think so.
Right?
I think so, yes.
All right. Muting Steve. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast. Wait, I'm going to fix something. My new setup in I'll get it yet. Output wave. There we go. My new setup in Audio Hijack has a delay, and I don't know why, but I've just shrunk the volume down, so at least I don't hear it so much. It bugged the crud out of me last week, but I figured I shouldn't touch anything. All right. She boarded the launch. All right, here we go. One more time. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, October 2nd, 2022, and this is show number 908. Well, it was fun trying to do the live show without Steve last week, but I'm glad he's back, even though it did go off nearly flawlessly last week. I'm glad to see the live chat room has people all the way from England to Australia and all over the U.S., so we are having a lot of fun in there. You should join us sometime. I always say at the end of the show, podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time. It's a lot of fun. Well, about a week ago, our buddy Ron saw a 3-wheeled electric vehicle driving near where we live. He figured out that it was the Electra Mechanica Solo. I got curious about the car, and I went to the website, and I discovered that they had the Solo at my local mall, and I could even test drive one. Of course, I immediately told Bodie Grimm of the Kilowatt podcast all about it. The Solo is actually starting more production right near his house, so he could also do a test drive. We made a pact to both do the test drive and then get together on his show to talk about it. I'll do a tiny bit of a spoiler here. This vehicle is not for everyone. but at $18,000 US for a single person car that you can charge overnight on a 110-volt outlet, it's pretty intriguing. Steve also drove the Solo, and we both thought it was super fun. I highly recommend you check out the Kilowatt Podcast in your podcatcher of choice and look for the episode entitled Electra Mechanica Solo Test Drive, or just follow the link in the show notes. It is volt, right?
Volt? Oh, 100? Well, it's usually called
It's
110 or
but
120.
I said 110. I caught the typo, but
Okay.
it's volts, right?
Right. So
Okay,
one
I'm
other
missing
thing
a
for those in the chat room, if you didn't catch it, it's a 3-wheeled vehicle. Two
Didn't
in
I
the
say
front.
that?
No.
I said that. Yes, I did. About a week ago, our buddy Ron saw a 3-wheeled electric vehicle.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah, look at that.
So it's 2 in the front and 1 in the rear. Interesting car to drive.
And there's a picture here. I will put the picture in the chat because you can't see it yet. This is what I was trying to get. What's going on? Oh, come on. Copy image. Try it this way. Yeah, he has husband ears today. Nope, that's not going to work. Okay, let me do it this way.
I did post it earlier, but go ahead and do it again.
Okay,
maybe you'll get a different shot.
I posted. Yeah, I like this. Well,
did you post it?
That's the one I chose.
Oh, wow. Yeah, side view. That's an interesting.
You had one of me at an angle, but I couldn't find it.
I think I got one. Let me pull it up here.
If you have one, I think I'd rather have it be me because it's about me talking to Bodie.
Angle? I have one front on. Let's see. Oh yeah. Slight angle. I'll put that one in.
Yeah, at some point, Mike, we need to get back together because the Keyboard Maestro Macro is only getting the first copy, the first link. I'm sorry, it does a link copy and then I do a regular copy, and I hear the beep on both, but it only pastes in the link for all three. What is that supposed to be? Yeah. Alrighty, I will. And I saw that you wrote me something else in Slack, and I have to go read that. It should be exciting. All right, now I'm going to do another chapter mark. Okay, so here, watch me. I'm going to press the button, and I'm going to bring this into focus, and I'm going to right-click, copy link. I hear a beep. Well, that time it did it without me even copying it. And that's not what it should have been. That's not what it should have been at all. Oh, that is what it should have been, but it never waited for me to do the copy.
Huh.
All right, let me delete that. Try it again. Okay. And so it brought up to the foreground. Right-click, copy link. Yeah, it's just going right on to the next thing. It's not waiting for the copy. It seems to change its behavior, too. Very strange. All right. Let me just switch ahead over here. All right. Rogue Amoeba is celebrating 20 years in Mac software development this month, and in honor of that accomplishment, I asked CEO Paul Kafasis to come on Chit Chat Across the Pond to take us on a walk down memory lane. We start by talking about Audio Hijack 1.0 and talk about the 266 megahertz Power PC they used to develop the product. We talk about how the problems... No, not how the problems... We talk about the problems that Rogue Amoeba's software solves, including SoundSource, which is probably their application with the broadest appeal to most people. We talk through design decisions, including both making Audio Hijack completely accessible to visually impaired users and making it easier for all of us to understand. I even asked Paul the burning question on everyone's mind: where the heck did the name Rogue Amoeba come from? Now, this episode is not an ad for Rogue Amoeba, and a lot of people gave me great feedback saying it wasn't an ad. But I'm afraid I do gush quite a bit because I'm such a giant fan of everything they do. I spend time talking about how amazing their support staff is. I bother them a lot, which prompts Paul to explain the structure of the company and why it works so well. We talk about their pricing model in contrast to the companies that are adopting subscription pricing. And finally, I ask Paul, when are they going to make a multi-track editor of my dreams? We had a blast recording together and swapping stories. Now, they had a 20% off discount that was supposed to stop at the end of September, on September 30th. But as of today, October 2nd, the link still worked. So if you haven't jumped on it and you hear this soon enough, you might still be able to get 20% off by going to macaudio.com. But of course, take a look for Chit Chat Across the Pond, episode 744, in your podcatcher of choice. Yeah,
what
that's
version
the
of
20-year-old.
What version are they on now?
4? 4. Yeah.
4?
Yeah, in 20 years, they've only gone up 4. He's got a statistic he talks about, something like 890 or so of the updates they've done have never been charged.
Wow.
Like it's something like 98% of all updates have not had a cost associated with them.
So the major upgrades are charged?
Yeah, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0 in 20 years.
Not bad.
That's one of the reasons every once in a while I just buy somebody a copy. I want to say I bought Bart his Audio Hijack 3. But every once in a while I do that just because I feel bad that I don't give them any money, you know? All right. Okay, let me try. Oh. All right, let me see if I can copy link. Nope, it is definitely, that's what's going wrong. That is very different than what I thought. It is that.
What is it doing?
It's not copying the text. It's just copying the link and it's doing the paste right away.
The same link in all 3 fields?
Right. It's supposed to put the link in the 3rd field and the title in the first 2, but it's never waiting for me to copy the title, so it doesn't have 2 things to paste.
Interesting.
Oh, you got Fission, Mike. Yeah, Fission's a cute little app. It does have some value. It's not in the top 10 for me, but it does some stuff.
Now,
Do you already
Fusion.
own Sound Source?
That's a cool one.
Yeah, it's just Fusion. Ooh, maybe if they make a multi-track editor, they should call it Fusion.
Call it Fusion. Audio Fusion.
Okay. All right. I need some Tiny Tip music. All right. Well, this one's very definitely a tiny tip, but it's a sort of important PSA, I think. Like many in the community, I had my custom domain hosted with Google right up until they decided to start charging me real money. Like many in the community, I have iCloud Plus, so I moved my custom domain over to iCloud. If you did that as well, there's something I don't know whether everybody would have thought of, and it just occurred to me. So months ago was when I converted over to iCloud Plus for my custom domain email for podfeed.com, and it only just occurred to me last week that I no longer have a distinct password for my custom domain email. I realized that my rescue email for my Apple ID email was my custom domain email, which means if either one of them got breached, I have no rescue options because they're actually the same thing now. I found a handy-dandy support article at Apple in which they show you how to change your rescue email address, and of course there's a link in the show notes. I hopped into appleid.apple.com and I changed it to a 3rd address I maintain so I now can sleep at night. I'm only embarrassed that it took me this long to realize the problem that I could have had. I hope maybe I rescued at least one of you out there as well. Yeah, you need to go do that, Steve.
I do.
All right, so Tiny Tips over, and next it's going to be the noun project. So I might as well do this.
So no verbs in this blog post?
Nope.
Not very action oriented.
Copy link. Come on. Copy link. Now it's not doing either one. There we go. It's not as bad as having to do it manually, but all right. This is a really cool service. I wrote this one up quite a while ago. Yeah, I wrote this up on September 16th. I've been saving it. All right. Drink. You know I love making diagrams. When I first started using the amazing and free diagrams.net to create my masterpieces, I used the built-in shapes to represent the elements of my diagrams. I was a big fan of rounded rectangles, and I'd use a nice gradient shade to make the rectangles a bit more interesting. If I was in a playful mood, I might try to use a thought bubble with text, or even a rhombus. Diagrams.net has a vast library of more specific shapes that you can search for or scroll to, but I have to admit it's very rare I find the shape that provides the perfect visual representation for what I'm trying to convey. For example, I recently made my elaborate diagram of the solar, battery, and grid power flow for my home. I wanted to represent the grid power with one of those transmission towers for high voltage lines. If I could get just the right icon, I knew it would help the viewer of my diagram to understand it better. Diagrams.net didn't have anything like that when I searched. In some cases, Diagrams.net has icons that aren't that bad. They did have a cute little yellow car with a plug coming out of it that could represent an electric vehicle, and then a little house that wasn't bad, but their solar panel icon wasn't terribly good at conveying what it represented. Now, maybe you're not a diagram fiend like I am, but you'd like to add some visual elements in the form of icons to a slide deck or a text document. If you have this need, you can go out to the internet and search for line art. But anything you find that's remotely representative of what you're trying to convey will have usage rights that are often cumbersome. Sometimes they only require attribution, but how do you do attribution on a diagram or in a slide deck? That would be really clumsy and messy. Do you put a text box in the corner listing everyone whose work contributed to the diagram? It would be messy, and if you're less lucky, you have to pay a fortune for the artwork you found that does convey what you want to represent. You can also find paid-for services for images, but they're very expensive, and I don't really want images. I want icons, and I don't want to pay an arm and a leg for it. I'm willing to pay something, but not an arm and a leg. Maybe, a pinky toe's worth, but no more. I found the perfect service for my needs. It's called Noun Project at thenounproject.com. It's a very hard name to remember as it doesn't say anything about icons, but their mission statement explains it a little bit. Noun Project is building global visual languages. Nope. Noun Project is building global visual language that unites us, a language that allows quick and easy communication no matter who you are or where you are. If you can think of icons as being representation of nouns, the Noun Project sort of makes sense. All right, let's get pricing out of the way. The Noun Project allows you to get royalty-free icons for which you do not have to provide attribution, and they do provide some value at no cost. But for a small fee, they provide incredible value. I put a link to the pricing plans in the show notes, but let me go through a little bit of the basics of the pricing. For free, you can get access to more than 3 million icons. You can download PNGs that are not scalable or in SVG format, which is scalable vector graphics, and that allows you to scale them as big or as small as you want with no degradation. The downside to the free account, though, is you have to give attribution, and I explained that's kind of messy. So let's say you have a small-term project and you won't be needing icons indefinitely. You just have a one-off. You can buy a 1-month plan for $2.99 US and get access to the same 3 million icons, and you don't have to give attribution. Seriously, that's not even a pinky toe. Now, the downside to the free and the month-to-month plans is that you will only get black and white icons. You can't download transparent versions of them, so that means you're going to get this big white background wherever you put the icon, and you can't really change the shape of the icon. If you make diagrams and artwork often, you want the plan I selected, which is the grand sum of $40 per year. That works out to $3.33 per month. With this plan, you can edit the color, the background, and shape. You have unlimited icon licenses. You get access to their apps. You can create custom favorites, and the website doesn't have any ads. I would say that I got my $40 worth out of the Noun project just for using it for my battery diagram alone. Now, if you're a business, you might be interested in their team subscription that allows sharing of icons across teams. This is great for things like company logos and that sort of thing. As I walk through why I think the Noun project is so cool, keep in mind that I'll be talking about what I get for that $40 per year. All right, now with pricing out of the way, I can tell you how cool the Noun project is. The Noun project is really cool. First of all, they aren't kidding about how many icons they have. If you type solar panel into search, you will get 2,325 results. I love this because I can scroll through until I see the perfect icon to represent the idea that I'm trying to get across. Once you select an icon, you'll see options below it to customize the icon. You can change the color with a simple color picker or by entering the hex or RGB values for the color you want. You can rotate or flip the icon vertically or horizontally. I needed that option when I found the perfect solar panel icon, but it was pointing in a direction that would have looked very weird in my project. You can set the background to different colors, but I usually keep it set to transparent. With a transparent background, I can drop icons into blog posts or diagrams, and they aren't all blocky, covering other things up. You know, in a diagram, I want to have connectors that go right up to the icon. If it's got a background, a lot of times it can't do that. You can also choose a frame around the icon that's square, circular, or even a ring shape. After you configure the icon the way you like it, you can choose to either download an SVG, a scalable graphic, or a PNG. Now, since PNGs are a static size, you can see the pixel dimensions under the download button with an invitation to change it before you do your download. If you're downloading an SVG, you can ignore the size option because vector graphics are infinitely scalable. One of the things I really like about the Noun project is that the settings for things like the size and having a transparent background are saved, so you don't have to faff about with the options every time you come to the website if you usually like them the same size. Now, I've been using the Noun project for quite a while, and it was only as I prepared to write up this article that I discovered that in addition to the web interface, they actually have standalone apps and plugins for other apps and web services. Now, I wonder how long these apps have been available, and I just never noticed they existed. I downloaded the Mac app, and after authenticating to my account, I was able to simply drag and drop from the app into the document that accepts images in that way. I may have squealed like a little girl upon this discovery. I could have been dragging and dropping all this time, not downloading to a folder and naming and all that nonsense. The Mac app has a basic search field, and then you're shown a grid of icons from which you can choose. You can change how many you see on the page by changing the zoom level in the bottom right. Across the bottom, you have options to change the color and choose the download format from PNG, SVG, PDF, or Auto. I'm not sure how it decides what format you want if you choose Auto. In my tests, it always chose PNG if I had it set to Auto. Now, I'll stick with the SVG whenever possible, and I would suggest you do that as well if your application accepts scalable vector graphics. Not only do you have more freedom on the sizing of the icon, but the SVG files are also significantly smaller. A 1200 by 1200 pixel PNG was 119 kilobytes, while the same SVG of the same icon was only 2 kilobytes, so 119 down to 2. Now, I know 119 kilobytes isn't very big, but if you're using a lot of icons, you're increasing the size of your document, and the format you're getting isn't even as flexible. Unlike the website for the Noun project, the Mac app doesn't appear to allow you to change the background color. It's always transparent. If you need to have a background on an icon, you can always put a rectangle of a different color underneath it, underneath your icon in your final project. I like the way the color options work in the Mac app. The color button shows the most recently chosen color, and next to it is the hex number for the color. If you click on the color itself, you're given the standard Apple color eyedropper. This is super cool because you could very quickly match a color you've already chosen for another element in what you're building, or find a color on a website to match. If you want to use the standard Apple color picker, click on the hex number for the color. I know hex numbers are weird, but you'll get the hang of it pretty quickly. I am in love with the Mac app over using the website. Don't get me wrong, the website is really slick and easy to use, but it's so much more efficient to use the app. I'm really glad I discovered it. So before discovering the app, I would go to my web browser, log into the Noun project, find the icon I wanted, download it to my computer, move it to the folder for the project I was working on, give it a new name, and then drag it into my diagram. Now, I merely open the app, find what I want, set the color and the format, and drag it right into my document. There's no need to download, save, or name the icons. This is going to be a huge time saving for me. Now, I can hear Alan asking something right now. What about Windows users? Well, evidently, they don't seem to have a Windows dedicated app. However, they have several options that will work for Windows users. If you use Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, or InDesign, they have plugins for PC and Mac. They also have add-ons for Microsoft Word and PowerPoint if you're of that persuasion, and those plugins work on Windows, the Mac, or the web. They even have plugins for Google Slides and Google Docs. I tested the plugin for Google Docs. After you install it, it's available in the Google Doc menus under Extensions. If you don't have an account for the Noun project, or you haven't logged in yet via the plugin, you get access to what they call their starter pack. They say that this starter pack comes with 100 of their top searched icons as one royalty-free set. Now, that might be enough icons for you, or you might want more, but in any case, it would give you a free way to see how the plugin works. The process for putting icons into a Google Doc from the plugin is a little clumsier than I would have hoped. I had this vision that I would simply be able to drag and drop icons from this extension. Instead, you find an icon you like, you choose a color, set the size that you want, and then there's an Insert Icon button to push. As soon as you move your cursor to push the Insert button, it will change to a download icon instead. It seems to sort of download within the app, though. It's not downloading to your downloads folder, so that's good. A little progress bar goes by, then it will insert it into your document. It does appear that Google Docs only supports PNGs. If I really need to add icons to a Google Doc, this seems like a good enough solution. But for everything else I do, using the dedicated Mac app will be much more efficient. I tested dragging and dropping icons from the Mac app into the web interface for diagrams.net, into their dedicated app called Draw.io, into my blogging software, Mars Edit, and into Apple Pages, and it worked in all of these. The one place it didn't work to drag and drop from the Mac app was in Google Docs. So I think it's a limitation of Google Docs itself that you can't drag and drop. Now, I know they have plugins for Word and PowerPoint, but I tried dragging from the Noun Project's Mac app, and it worked perfectly there too, so I didn't bother to download the plugins for those applications. The Noun Project also has photos in addition to icons. These are licensed in a much different way than their icons. It's a separate, licensing system. For example, you can get a 5-megapixel download of an image for $8.50, so that you're just buying one image. It's a royalty-free download, but it's a non-commercial license. If you need a photo for a commercial project, you can download a 10-megapixel image or even larger, but it'll cost you $33. Now, if you're willing to give attribution to the artist, you can use their basic free download, which is a 0.2 megapixel image. A 0.2 megapixel image is 3.6 by 2.5 inches at 150 dpi. I stuck one in the show notes if you want to see it. Now, I'm not really the target market for photos from the Noun Project, but I tried out their free image option. They did a couple of things that I liked. They gave me a spot to easily copy the correct attribution. I always want to do that right, and I never know what to say. They were also very specific to say the attribution must be in a visible location. I've always wondered whether I could get away with, can I just put it into a hoverable title on the web? And if that's not allowed, I'd rather know. When I downloaded the free JPEG, I discovered that the image was already subtly watermarked with the attribution, making it easy to comply with their licensing requirements. The image is small, like I said, it's embedded in the show notes for you to see, but it's not bad for free. The bottom line is that if you have a need to insert icons into documents, presentations, fancy pants artwork, or to make diagrams, check out the Noun Project and see if it works for you. The convenience I get out of having access to so many icons without worrying about licensing and the flexibility on color and formatting makes $40 a year for the Noun Project a no-brainer for me. I stuttered right at the end. There's a missing capital T in.
That's a pretty cool service. So, what happened here? I lost you?
Me?
Yeah, what's going on? There, you're back. That's weird.
What was my video gone? Oh,
your video just blanked out.
I got disconnected from Mimo Live.
Yeah, and you're back. It was about 3 or 4 seconds.
I think it was your side because it disappeared from my iPad. But Doesn't matter. It's like people arguing over who gave them the flu or COVID. It's like, nobody tries to give anybody it. Let me list this for a second. For the Noun Project. See if I can edit that together. Just get that. For the Noun Project, a no-brainer for me. There we go. Oh, you're welcome, Alan. I knew you'd be asking. I figured I'd head you off at the pass. Let's see. Oh, I guess send that to blog. All right. 18 minutes. Yeah. Okay, good. This can be just perfect like this. Did I miss anything in the chat room?
Not too much going on.
Has John been making fun of me in any way?
John's been very restrained tonight.
I gave him free reign. Maybe it's no fun if he has impressions or if he has permission. A new graphics app. You're excited. Yeah, I think it's really fun. That actually, what I should have done now was I wrote the Noun Project thing. Well, before I finished the diagram of the batteries, I should link to it in there. Can you quickly find that diagram, just so people can see how?
Which diagram are we talking about?
Of the batteries.
Oh, okay, the full up one.
Yeah, I mean,
do you want to just put it in the chat room?
Yeah.
I bet I can find that.
Oh, I'm going to get to it first. There's a link to it. Actually, we got to do the final one. Here.
So you got it?
Yeah. This is so now that when you look at this, you'll appreciate how many icons the Noun Project gave me. Every one of those is from the Noun Project. Even the little traffic cop.
Even those Tesla batteries?
No, I didn't get those from.
I just found the one thing that I knew wasn't.
Yeah. I thought the oven was pretty cool. The car charger was good.
Oh, yeah, they were all
The house
all
is
great.
pretty easy, but. All right. Let's see. What am I going to talk about
maybe
next?
a Twilight Zone episode, Mike, or maybe what is that?
Where did it go? Where's my article about the
Incredible
Oh, there it is. Oh, this one's old too. I got to do this one before iOS 16 or before Ventura comes out. Oh, got to do my chapters. If only Kevin had reminded me to do chapters. You know? No, that's not the right one. No, not that one. That one. This is me at Podfeed Store. All right. All right. Press the button. Just figure out. I always wonder, Mike, whether it's a timing thing. It feels like a timing thing, doesn't it? It's always timing in Keyboard Maestro. For some reason, you always have to put in these waits, like just sit there, don't do anything. Okay. All right, now to this one. All right, does anybody in here have an iPhone 14 Pro? I know Steve does. Oh, actually, this is pretty funny. I'm going to, if somebody removed a delay. Okay, so this is going to be specific to 14 Pro users. It's kind of a funny little thing. By the way, I got really excited. I was throwing out old phone boxes, and I found one from a phone Steve had before, and I got really excited. I found a new SIM removal tool, and these are like gold. You got it. Oh, guess I don't need that anymore.
Not anymore. They're like lead.
Yeah. All right, so if you do have an iPhone 14 Pro, you're going to want to play along in Apple Photos because this is a funny thing that I've discovered. Let's be honest with each other. We don't buy cell phones that happen to have cameras. We buy cameras that happen to come on cell phones. In my personal observation, the biggest driver on why people buy a new phone is whether the cameras are better than the model they currently own. The iPhone 14 Pro has 3 lenses on the back, just like the iPhone 13 Pro did, but it actually has 4 cameras. I'm going to talk about how all that's done at a later date. Today I'd like to talk about how, in Apple Photos, it's much harder with the 14 Pro to figure out which camera you use to capture an image. If that's not at all important to you, then you can just skip past this whole article. But if you'd like to know more, stick with me. The iPhone 13 Pro had 3 cameras. In the camera app, they're labeled 0.5, 1x, and 3. I don't know for the life of me why only the 1x camera gets to have an X. I would have written 0.5x, 1x, and 3x, but the time to rant about that is in the past. The info pane in Apple Photos for both macOS and iOS reveals information about how the image was captured. This information is called the EXIF data, Exchangeable Image File Format. And that's what camera nerds talk about a lot, is the EXIF data, but it's going to be important. For images taken with the iPhone 13 Pro's 0.5 camera, Apple will label this image with ultra-wide camera. It will also tell you the focal length, which is 13 millimeters, and the aperture size, f1.8. Now, you don't have to worry your pretty little head about those numbers to know which camera took the photo because the image is clearly labeled as using the ultra-wide camera. Likewise, an image taken with the 13 Pro's 1x camera will clearly be labeled wide camera. And finally, if you tap on the 3 to take a photo with your iPhone 13 Pro, that image will be labeled telephoto camera. All of that makes perfect sense. I think even if we're not super nerds on this subject, we can tell which one of these images was created by pushing which button on our camera app. Now let's switch gears to what happens with the iPhone 14 Pro's cameras. On iPhone 14 Pro, the camera app on iOS now gives us 4 options instead of 3. They're 0.5, 1x, 2, and 3. Again, I'm baffled why they don't give us an X on all 4 options or none of them. I'm going to have to get over that, I guess. But when you open the info panel in Apple Photos, images taken by the 4 different cameras are all labeled with the same name. They all say back triple camera. Even though Apple doesn't make it obvious to us, we can still figure out which camera took an image. They're just going to make it hard for us. Remember I told you with the iPhone 13 Pro's camera, you didn't have to worry your pretty little head about those numbers for focal length and aperture? I'm sad to say that we will have to worry our pretty little heads with the iPhone 14 Pro. The clue as to which camera took the photo is buried in the focal length, which does change depending on the camera. In order to learn which one is which, let's take a look at the information Apple gives us on the iPhone 14 Pro tech specs page. It says, let's see. How much am I going to need it? Oh, okay, there we go. I put an image in the show notes of what Apple says on the tech specs page, and I also copied them into a little table for reference, along with a bit of other information. Also makes it accessible to do that. I could read out all the numbers due to make your head spin, but instead, I'm going to teach you how to tell which camera took an image, but by memorizing only one number. The main, also known as wide, or also known as 1x camera, has a focal length of 24 millimeters. That's it. That's all you need to memorize. Memorize 24 millimeters. That's the main 1x camera. From there, you can derive all of the others. The only thing that might throw you here is that the math is kind of inexact. I'll explain as we go through these. The ultra-wide camera says 0.5 on it. So if you see a shot with roughly half of the 24 millimeters of the main camera, you know that's the ultra-wide. Half of 24 is 12 millimeters. The info window will say 14 millimeters, but that's close enough to be able to spot which one it is. The 2x camera, the 2x telephoto camera, says 2 in the camera app. The main camera is 24 millimeters. Remember that. That's all we got to know, 24. So doubling it gives you 48 millimeters for the 2x camera. So if you see a 48 millimeter image, that was taken with your 2x telephoto. Now, I bet you can figure out how the 3x camera works all by yourself. 3 times 24 millimeters is 72 millimeters. Of course, it's not 72, but it's 77, and that's close enough. So if you see the 77 millimeter focal length in the info window, that's the 3x camera. Now, I wish the numbers were exact multipliers, but even Apple is inconsistent on this. In the info window for an ultra-wide image, it says 14 millimeters, but if you look at their tech spec page, it says the ultra-wide is 13 millimeters. And of course, the math says it should be 12 millimeters. I guess math is more of a guideline here. The bottom line is that if you want to know which camera took a given photo, look in the info window for 24 millimeters on your Mac. If you find it, that's the main 1x camera. See roughly half a 24 millimeter? That's your 0.5x ultra-wide camera. See double 24 millimeters? Then it was taken at 2x. See some number vaguely close to triple that? It's your 3X telephoto camera. I'm sure glad I was able to clarify all of this for you, and here's hoping Apple puts the real names back in so no one has to do the math to figure out which camera they used. I do think there's hope on that front. I've been talking this whole time about macOS Photos. In iOS 16, iPhone 14 Pro images in the Photos app clearly say telephoto camera, main camera, and ultra-wide camera. I verified that this clarity is not available on iOS 15 and iPadOS 15. So fingers crossed that macOS Ventura and iPadOS 16 brings this information back to us. Until then, have fun doing the math.
That's so odd.
Did you like that?
I was about to correct you because you had the 13 and 12 millimeter thing going on that. I realized, no, that's what Apple's doing.
No, they're just, and it should be 14, or it should be 12. They have 13 and 14. So anybody else find that as entertaining as I did?
It is weird.
All right. Yeah, I think it'll be fine by the time we get there. Okay, I think we are going to go. I can close that one. And now I believe it's time to support the show.
Oh.
Let's see. No. And the link is... Oh, actually, no, it should be this time. That is the wrong link. It's going to be PayPal this week. And I need to change that over here because it's PayPal.
Patreon got pasted in. Is that what you wanted, or?
I'm fixing it. You're saying if you hit support the show right now, you go to Patreon?
No, in what you pasted in for a link is Patreon.
Oh, that's weird. I swear. That is really weird. I saw it.
Okay, wait, there's PayPal.
Look at that. If I tap away.
Oh, so it's the label, weird. The label versus the actual URL.
No, it was the URL change. That is really weird because I saw it paste in as paypal.me/podfeed.
Interesting.
Really strange. Due to autofocus? Oh, I don't think so. The discrepancies of focal length? No, it shouldn't. That shouldn't change.
Yeah, I don't think the camera's identified focal length changes.
It's a fixed. That's a hardware thing.
It's a fundamental feature of the camera's lens.
Yeah.
They don't change that. I don't think they change that depending on focal length.
Yeah. Okay, muting Steve. Well, oh, do you want to keep going?
Nope, I'm done.
Okay, you sure? We have time. Nope, he's muted. Okay, here we go. Nope, not selected. You know who's awesome? John Murray, that's who. John heard me say that you can make one-time donations via PayPal. So he went to podfeed.com/PayPal and he chose a dollar amount that demonstrated the value he gets from the shows we create here at the Podfeed Podcast. Not only that, he wrote a lovely note to go along with it. He wrote, "Thank you for another quarter of great shows and sharing your expertise. Even when you were on vacation, the shows kept coming. Thank you and the rest of the great hosts." You know, he made my day, and it made me really happy that he recognized the contributions that Bart and Alistair make to keep this streak alive. If you'd like to be cool like John, consider a one-time donation to show your appreciation. There we go. Why are we looking at Jeopardy? Oh, is that the math I was just doing? Okay. And now it is time for security bits. Security bits with Barbu shots. And we're going to go pull this. If you send me another duck, I'm going to light it on fire. Seriously. Do not need more ducks. What I need is some of that. Steve, you know that earthquake goop?
What's that?
Whoops.
My things are bouncing. The music's going. Wow.
Yeah, sorry. That earthquake goop. You know the stuff you like. It's a waxy thing you stick to stuff so like little cups won't fall off of dressers when decorative stuff for earthquakes? I need
No.
one for the duck, for Kevin. Oh, Lord. Lordy, lordy. What?
I didn't see you put a chapter mark in yet.
Oh, good point. Let's see. And I will hold that thought. Hold that thought. Oh, you see a plink?
I do.
Blink.
Oh, quiet one, yes.
Blink.
Shh.
Blink.
Oh, actually, you know what else? I have something else. This is important. This is more important than everything else. I forgot to download this. Let's see. Come on. Search and mail. Just like sometimes it's just like showing me B&H stuff when I'm not searching for B&H. I'm not going to be able to find it. All right, let's do this. Nope, mail's not going to be able to find it. I got Paul Kafasis to do a plink for me.
Oh, you
and
did?
Then the way the editing worked out, I didn't end up using his recording after all, and so he mailed it to me just to make sure he was in my sidebar of plinks. I got to go find it, but I can't find it. Mail is just being poopy. How about all inboxes if I do Kafasis? I know Kent McDonald's email is nothing to do with Paul Kafasis. Why is it not finding? I don't know, something about 64,000 emails. Maybe that's what's wrong. Okay, let's take a look and see how that goes. Okay, let's go back and pick up our chapter mark. Good call, Steve. I thought Kevin would do that for us. There, and there, and I'm going to put it there. I really hate doing this by hand. You don't suppose I did delete that timing, that second copy, do you? Maybe. All right, let's hear how this sounds. For appreciation. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Security Bits with Bart Bouchatz. Was that too soon, Steve?
I think it was okay. A little soon.
You didn't listen, did you?
It was just...
Yeah, I knew it. Well, it's that time of the week again.
That's good.
It's time for Security Bits with Bart Bouchatz. We didn't give you a lot of time to come up with any great horror stories this week, Bart.
No, but the universe didn't entirely disappoint. The volume is a bit lower than I guess it could be, but there's plenty going on all the same.
We only had a week.
Yeah.
All right, let me go check some more. Yeah, it looks like I'm...
Allows.
By the way, I don't actually know what Exchange is. I've heard the term for years, but I... All right. Bart's a Microsoft shill now. Well, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's...
Are you lined up?
I don't know. CAD design, manufacturing, billing. And, we talked over each other a lot in this recording. I'm not sure we are lined up correctly, but RM and MRP and all that.
A lot of that stuff is integrated as...
Yeah. I think we just talked on top of each other.
It's a tricky one. But anyway, those
okay,
who do
now that I
have
know
a
what
big
we're
problem.
talking about, now you can tell me.
This doesn't... You're doing a lot of editing for...
We're talking about. Now you can tell me the bug.
Yeah, so there's a pair of...
Yes? Why don't you want me to edit out those problems?
Because some of this looks just misaligned. Like, you should shift to the right, the upper one. I don't know.
No, look.
No, that looks okay.
Yep. No, we just talked over each other a lot. Had 2 recordings in a row where that happened. Usually that's a...
like right there.
That's
that looks like it.
Yeah, we're just talking on top of each other.
So you as a
Okay.
user
How did they get
can't
to be an How did they get to be an authenticated user? Okay, who should I keep?
So you as a
How did
user
they get
can't
to be an How did they get to be an authenticated?
I would take one of yours out.
Yeah.
Because you repeat it.
Maybe one of each of.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So you as a user can't execute.
How did they get to be an authenticated user?
It's a game with 2 hands.
There we go. And here again.
How you get in.
Okay.
Maybe your delay was bad.
Yeah. Now look how long the gap
The
is.
first half.
Oh, okay.
So
Wow.
What does the end look like? If you go to the end, how?
That's not gonna represent anything.
Well, I'm just wondering if time is building
have
up
to
on
factor
one
in
side or the other.
there is
It's really hard to get back to the original spot. Yeah, these gaps are long too.
fine. Now what am I supposed to do? It is possible for every piece of code to have a bug. That's where the second.
Are you bored? You're
No, I'm
saying,
just
Steve.
as you do
That's where the
this,
second-
you're coming out of alignment with the upper track, right? As you're deleting periods
I
in the
just
lower
deleted-
track.
No. Okay.
Are you deleting
what's
both
selected?
simultaneous? Oh, okay, I thought
Yes.
you were just deleting the lower track.
Yes. No. I know how to. I know how to edit audio, dear. I've done it before.
on your server.
So like that's okay. You can see my laughing, by the way. Those vertical
Mhm.
lines. Okay, that looks pretty good. Easier, I should say.
Yeah,
Let me ask a
exactly.
question though. When you said it, see that's okay. That's kind of fine. But then here it is.
Software in
Okay.
such a way that it does your bidding instead.
Like there, I want to just get rid of me, but that's leaving them still lined up.
Mm-hmm.
See how that works?
Instead of what it's supposed to do.
Oh, okay. Right. That's what
And then
it
it's off.
just takes a left turn.
Exactly.
Just
Exactly.
never goes
It's
down
off the
that road.
reservation,
Okay.
right? It never gets around to what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I can get rid of mine there. All right.
Because you've just hijacked it. So that other.
I don't know if he's expecting me to talk. So this is the kind of thing I mean, like where he's waiting for me, but then other times I'm talking and he's talking.
Because it means.
Is this being exploited in the wild yet?
It would.
Oh, we have a movie recommendation for everybody. Has anybody else seen Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris?
Found it.
I did.
I waited 30 days. Tell him how good it was. Nothing exploded, and Steve still liked the movie. There was no
30
raining
days.
blood.
It was quite
It's a little
enjoyable.
short, right? Or is that the new standard?
That is one of the commonly used standards, and it is also the case.
Wait, there's books, Sandy? Ooh.
Normal.
Yeah,
And-
that's a good point. If it's going to be, it's so good. It's charming. Let's get this going.
Precisely. So only when.
I
the
suspect it'll get
researchers-
nominated for a few Academy Awards.
For something. Hopefully
So
they're
what-
working on a patch.
They are.
Oh, this is boring. I don't like editing audio. You know, normally I don't. Around then,
Absolutely, totally, and utterly a workaround. And
which
like any
means all the
workaround,
sysadmins get to do it again.
they
It's
already
streaming,
can,
John.
but
Or
also
no,
a
wait.
workaround is-
Yeah,
Yeah.
we saw it
We
through
rented it.
Apple. Yeah, rented
Yeah,
it
we
through
rented on Apple
movies, Apple TV
pattern doesn't match.
Plus.
Yeah,
whatever.
the bad actors are definitely gonna
So,
go
yeah.
after that one, right?
Yeah, exactly. So basically, state.
So you're saying if they, some of those are just that's normal. We talk over each other that much all the time.
firewall rules in front of it.
Okay. Boring to wait that long.
We don't know if it's on Google Play, Alan. We don't use that.
Is Google Play a place you can rent movies? I mean, it's probably on
I-
Amazon. It's Google Play is for
Games, I thought.
games,
but-
isn't it? So
A
define
month
zero
ago.
day.
Yeah,
Define
that's what it
0
can-
day. Now, see, now that one, I'm going to set it twice. I'm going to get rid of it. Define 0 day again, because I keep hearing different definitions of that.
Okay.
That's
exploited.
if it's
So it
called
is
that.
exploited,
Okay.
And there have been 0 days since the patch has been released. In fact, there have been
I
minus
can do these
infinity
little
days.
ones.
You know, minus question mark, question mark, question mark.
Okay. Ugh, hate editing. Other people edit like this all the time. They could have made
Which they
that
do.
title a little more clear.
I guess those quotes are. You need to imagine them with giant, big, hand gestures.
Big air quotes.
big air quotes on that one. Yeah. I can hear it in
Okay.
Paul Duckin's voice, and it appears that the customer IDs were sequential. So you could just read the database.
Oh, wow.
20 million records.
All right. Oh yeah.
Government issued.
There's a story Bart's talking about the Australian telco. One of the Australian telcos had a database hack that exposed like everything: government issued IDs, date of birth, all kinds of horrible information. That is terrifying. Alan, you're asking us about a book. We saw a movie. Yeah,
Be
that's
off
wild.
us.
Yeah, why do you call them serial numbers? Is the low volume of the security bit section compared to Allison's narration just because she's editing? No, it's just probably recorded at a lower level, but it'll all be fixed with Auphonic. Oh my gosh.
Which
Are you
might be a
kidding me?
deterrent. That might be an
Oh my
effective deterrent
gosh.
against other companies.
Yeah, that's when I find out exactly everything got hacked.
I don't know
Everybody
enough
will be
about
angry.
how.
Either way they do it, everybody will. Yeah. Take it out. I think I'm being fair. Who's getting one taken out? It's chewing it
Oh,
up. I think that's the garage door right there. What do they gain?
They gain.
Yep. That's what the garage door looks like, Steve. You see that? Whoops. Right there? That's the garage door.
Can you hear it?
Uh-huh. It usually doesn't come through to you. Noise levels are usually not bad. Let's see. What about that one?
It doesn't have all the Android apps. The Android apps.
Well, it's got a link. It's got a link to it. It's got a link to it. Okay. Ooh, there's the garage door closing right there, guaranteed.
Let's hear it.
To text when you type.
I don't think you'll be able to hear it. So if you went to that URL and started typing anything in the URL bar,
Oh no, the protect.
yeah, it's real quiet, but I can hear it. And I jump on the that one was a hard one because it was while I was talking. But usually it's I grab the mute button there. Okay, I'm tired. That's enough.
Yep. I think it's time to cut to the chase.
We don't know either.
No. On average, we're not. On average, more of us are right.
All right, how close?
How
are
long
we?
was this
I gotta
one?
Get close. Not that long. Yeah, like 30 minutes. That's pretty short for us. Yeah, there we go. See, look at that. Lined up. And that's not content. That was Bart going, He always makes a little funny noise when he, listen to this is a noise he makes when he's trying to find the stop button.
Didn't hear it.
You couldn't hear that?
Mm-mm.
And that's okay. All right, so now we're gonna put how about some outro music? Oh no, I gotta record. All right, here we go. Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. Did you know you can email me at allison@podfeed.com anytime you like? Ask me questions, send in a suggestion, or do a review. You can follow me on Twitter, too, at Podfeed. If you want to join in the fun of the conversation, you can join our Slack community at podfeed.com/Slack, and you can talk to me and all of the other lovely NosillaCast castaways. Remember, everything good starts with podfeed.com. You can support the show at podfeed.com/Patreon or with a one-time donation at podfeed.com/PayPal like John Murray does, except he actually does it once a quarter. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeed.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic Nosilla castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. What movie recommendation is it? It's Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. I'll give you the if I tell people what the movie's about, I don't think anybody would watch it. It's a woman who it's a scullery maid in 1957 who decides that if her life would be complete if she just had a Christian Dior dress from Paris. Which is that is nothing like what I would want to go see. But it's wonderful. Stay subscribed. Ooh, 5:59.
Chapter count.
Export. Oh, chapter count first. Okay, fine. Chapter count. How many you got?
7.
1, 2, 3,
7.
4, 5, 6. Steven. Steven. It's a family show. 7. All right. Export. And export. And we're done.
Great. Good show, Podfeet. Welcome back.
I enjoyed it.
Oh, no, that's me.
I thought it was fun. All right, everybody. I got to kiss Rose goodbye, and then you're going to play us out, Steve?
We'll play you
We
out.
should have outro music.
We're played out.
Played out. I had fun. Oh, I'm glad you had fun, Zoe. Excellent show, Steve.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right.
Good night,
night,
Gracie.
Gracie.
We're out.